Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard here with your BHDL1 Quarterfinals recap and Semifinals preview. So you guys all know the deal with these videos at this point, so we're just going to go ahead and dive right into it. So our quarterfinals match, which is the first round of the playoffs, was against Icy Dude, strong competitive battler who we have played a couple of times before here on the channel in Scarlet and Violet. And so going into this match, we were both sitting at a 6-3 record, although records are a little bit out the window at this point because, as you all know by now, with the playoffs, it is win and advance or lose and be eliminated. So records don't mean too much anymore at this point. But nonetheless, obviously, by virtue of the fact that I'm doing this video now, you guys will all know, even if you haven't watched the battle, which I assume pretty much everyone watching this has, that we did end up winning that matchup 5-0. It was an incredible turn of events for us that allowed us to go ahead and pick up a huge victory, actually the biggest one of the season for us here. And yeah, very excited about that. Very excited to be moving on to the semifinals in the BHDL1. So, having said all of that, we're actually going to go ahead and throw it over to the team preview screen right here. So there we go. As you can see on the right-hand side, the 6 Pokemon he brought to the game. On the left-hand side, the 6 Pokemon I brought to the game. So as you can see, he brought the Garchomp, the Flamigo, the Tyranitar, the Grimmsnarl, the Alomomola, and the Annihilate. So I said it at the time, and I stand by it now. I was kind of surprised, actually, to see the Flamigo of all things. That was probably the biggest surprise looking at his team. To a little bit of a lesser extent, I was surprised to see the Alomomola. I kind of thought there was a chance he could bring that, but I wasn't banking on it. But yeah, notable Pokemon that he did not bring that I was really expecting, and this one actually was one that I had skipped my mind when I had the battle, was he did not bring Blissey. So I was actually, in retrospect and whatnot, very shocked that he did not bring Blissey to this game because I think Blissey, obviously, is a premier special wall. Is Seems like it would have a very good matchup against my team, aside from a couple of Pokemon. So I am very shocked that he didn't bring that to battle. Also, kind of surprised he did not bring the Hatterene. Although I was kind of expecting either Hatterene or Grimmsnarl, so I guess it does kind of make sense that he brought the one or the other, obviously, and then wouldn't bring the second one. So, but I wasn't really sure which one of those he was going to want to bring. But yeah, that was a kind of a surprise that he didn't bring that, and then also the Hisuian Braviary was another surprise to an extent, just because that is one of his Terra captains. So, but looking at my side of the match here, you can see we brought the Gastrodon, Hawlucha, Pincurchin, Espathra, Orthworm, and Iron Moth to the game this week. Mostly standard stuff for us, as per what we bring on any given week here in the BHDL1. The notable exceptions for us, one that is obviously here that you don't see every week is going to be the Espathra. And the reason I decided to bring the Espathra this week is because I really thought it had a very strong matchup against his team. I thought that if we could get to a point where we could set up with Espathra, that it could really wreak some havoc on his team and do a lot of work. So I saw a possibility for big things with Espathra this week, which is why I brought it. On the flip side, we did not bring the Goodra this week. That's a Pokemon that we normally do bring, simply because I thought Goodra had a very poor matchup against his team, given that he had some very high-powered Dragon and Fairy types on his team. So I didn't see Goodra being too useful against this matchup, and plus I needed to make room to bring that Espathra this week, so that was kind of the logic there. But other than that, everything else is pretty normal for what we would bring in any given week here in the BHDL1. So, having said that, we're going to go ahead and throw it over to the weekly pros and cons. So, as you can see this week, no, this is not a typo. We have only pros for the pros and cons this week, no cons, and I will explain that as we go through the list here. So, pros of the week, obviously, the big pro of the week is going to be we won the game 5-0. As I mentioned before, it was the biggest victory that we've had all season, and it was very exciting for us to get that victory. Like I said, it was a very awesome turn of events for us for a few reasons that I will get into shortly here. And so, yeah, obviously, with that victory, that means we move on to the semifinals, as I had mentioned before. So, obviously, that is going to be our big pro of the week with this game. But other pros of the week include I feel like we actually played pretty well this week. Just due to the fact that we were able to kind of do what we wanted to do early as far as getting some hazards set up on his side of the field and then come in with the Hawlucha, although we really didn't. I really didn't want to come in with the Hawlucha as early as I did because I kind of didn't think it would be able to do what it ended up doing here in this game. But obviously, yeah, I was wrong about that. Largely because of the third thing on this list here, which is once again, Lady Luck was on our side this week. So there were virtually no hacks in this game, actually, except for one very important hack that we're going to talk about now, obviously. And for those of you who have seen the game, you'll already know what I'm talking about. But um, in the early stages of the matchup, essentially we were kind of jockeying for position with a few turns for the first few turns, setting hazards and what chipping things and whatnot. He did manage to get rid of our Iron Moth early. So then we decided to come in with the Hawlucha, and we kind of go all in on Hawlucha. Essentially, we um, go ahead and get it set up with the Unburden, Electric Seed, plus a Swords Dance, the whole 9 yards, obviously, all that good stuff. And after we take out his Garchomp, which is the first Pokemon to fall on his side, he comes in with the Tyranitar. So this is pretty much the turn that decides the entire game here because um, once again, what happens here is he goes ahead and terastallizes his Tyranitar into a Ghost type. I knew a Terra was coming that would either have a resistance or an immunity to fighting, so fortunately I read that and we did not go for the close combat. We ended up going for a Terra Blast Fairy instead. The Tyranitar does take one of those, even at +2, relatively easily. And then he goes for the Thunder Wave to cripple our Hawlucha, and he actually misses the Thunder Wave. So that was extremely unfortunate on my opponent's side of the game there. That Thunder Wave miss pretty much sealed the game in our favor at that point, as long as we could play our cards right with Hawlucha and kind of hang on with Hawlucha. Which we ended up doing, as obviously that will lead us to the final bullet point here for the weekly pros, which is this was Hawlucha's finest hour, hands down, no question this week, as Hawlucha would go on a tear and excuse me, get 5 kills this game, only missing a 6 straight kill streak by the fact that the opponent's Aloe Momola actually ended up going down to poison damage rather than Hawlucha being able to KO it. So, but that was still an absolutely incredible turn of events for us. Again, Hawlucha just absolutely carrying this game, and obviously that could not have happened if not for that Thunder Wave miss, which was very critical, obviously. Now, we can't say for sure what would have happened. Had my opponent not missed the Thunder Wave, obviously it would have been a completely different game from that point forward. Extremely unlikely, if not completely impossible, for Hawlucha to go on the tear that it went on if the Thunder Wave had connected. Um, but obviously we don't know what would have happened after that point. But yeah, that was just the right bit of luck at the right time. That combined with us playing pretty well, I think, definitely carried us to a huge victory this week. So once again, very happy about that. And yeah, I really don't have anything bad to say about this game through and through. It went much better than I had expected it to, honestly. Honestly, I was actually banking on Espathra to put in some work this week if we were going to have a chance to win this game, because I thought that on paper our teams were very evenly matched, and I thought it was going to be a very close game. And so, obviously, thanks to that bit of hacks, we were able to kind of run away with the game after that point. Um, but yeah, nonetheless, just an incredible game for us, an incredible showing for the Philadelphia Pidgeys, getting a huge victory and advancing into the semifinals of the BHDL1. So, having said all of that, we are going to go ahead and take a look at the updated playoff bracket here in the BHDL1. So here we go. You can see we are updated with all of the quarterfinals results here, moving on to the two semifinal matches this week. So I'm not really going to talk about the other semifinal match because that's obviously, as you can see at the bottom there, it will be Scorpion taking on Emerald Miner, who, as of this recording, I believe that match is actually slated to take place right around the exact same time that my match is slated to take place in the semifinals, which is pretty interesting. Um, but yeah, obviously that's going to be a game to watch, as well as the winner of my match here will take on the winner of that match in the finals of the BHDL one. So, but obviously, as you can see, the other semifinal match, my game is going to be me versus Raymond. So, Raymond is a strong competitive battler and seasoned draft league participant that I have never played before, actually, to my knowledge. And he is a constant factor in competitive Wi-Fi battles around the Discord servers that this league is based around. And again, he is an incredibly strong player, both in competitive and in draft league. Um, Pretty much everyone in this league says that he has the strongest draft of the entire league. I would definitely say one of, if not the strongest. I would definitely put him in the top two or three, probably top two of teams in this draft league. And so, yeah, obviously this guy's reputation precedes him. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at his draft team here. But just a reminder that we are all fighting, as you can see on the right hand side there, for that sweet, sweet prize to become the first ever Pokemon Scholar. Go love it, go love it. So, yeah, having said that, we'll take a look at Raymond's team here. So there you can see the snapshot of his team on the screen. He has a very, very solid team. Like I said, for my money, definitely one of the top two teams, I would say, in this draft league. So he's got some premier offensive threats, like obviously the Chen Pao sticks out like a sore thumb. That is going to be the biggest of problems to deal with. But he also has stuff like the Basculegion, the Talonflame, the Sandy Shocks, other very powerful, very potent offensive threats. Obviously, the Sandy Shocks, as a Terra captain, has wreaked havoc on this entire league throughout this season. As I failed to mention, this coach is now, I believe, at an 8-2 record after his quarterfinals victory. So, um, yeah, we've seen plenty of tape and numbers of the Sandy Shocks Terra captain wreaking havoc on this league thus far. But he also has a lot of very potent, very premier defensive Pokemon as well. So, of course, those would include the Clodsire, the Rillaboom, the Tinkaton, I almost forgot to mention, the Dondozo as his other Terra Captain, actually, which again has been a very potent choice for him, and that thing has put in a lot of work this season as well. So there is no question about this. This is going to be an extremely uphill game for me and for the Philadelphia Pidgeys. Looking at this match on paper, I would say we're at a decided disadvantage on paper, I think. Um, his team is just incredibly strong, incredibly well put together, incredibly versatile. So it is definitely going to be, in my opinion, I think this will probably be the most difficult task to date for us in this league. So, um, when you have a combination of a coach that has not only a wealth of experience in Pokemon, but also an incredibly well put together team. That is going to make for a very difficult week for us. But obviously, this is going to be it. We have to either win this game or be eliminated from the BHDL1. So, of course, I have started to think about how I want to tackle this team. Not going to say anything about that here, obviously, because I don't want to shoot myself in the foot any more than making these videos already does, of course. But yeah, we're going to definitely give it our best shot and hope for the best here against this team. But again, it is definitely going to be a very, very difficult one for us, to say the least. So, but yeah, I think that'll pretty much do it for this one for us. So coming your way, definitely within less than a week here, I believe, is going to be the semifinals of the BHDL1. So yes, stay tuned for that, obviously, and that battle will be coming, like I said, within less than a week. So, but that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and/or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. Once again, next battle will be the semifinals of the BHDL1. Hopefully, the Pidgeys can fly once again to a victory. So, but yeah, that's it, and we'll see you next time.